What's good guys, Kel here. Now listen, recently there's been a whole lot of drama going down on the whole influencer family side of social media, and it's not like your typical parents abusing their children type of thing. Well, I guess it kind of is, but you'll see what I mean in a second. As we all know, parents of family TikTok and YouTube channels largely focus their content on the experiences of their children, mostly because kids are the ones watching the videos, and things can get kind of tricky when it comes to featuring minors in content, as they're bound to grow up, change, and develop throughout their time in the spotlight. It also opens the door to parents kind of exploiting their kids for money, since you know the kids are like the main subject of the videos, but their parents are the ones making the money off of them. And a great example of this is Ryan's World, one of the largest toy review channels out there. The thing is, Ryan, you know, the kid who would actually do all the reviews, has now grown up, and the channel actually went through a whole bunch of criticism a while back due to people saying that Ryan's parents had like robbed him of a childhood, exploited him to make money, you know, all that kind of shit. They actually ended up removing Ryan a lot from their videos because he was simply too old to be doing kids content anymore. Here's what they had to say about the whole thing.
What do you guys think about the future of the channel as your kids get older?
We want to make sure we cater toward the existing fans, 5 to 8 years old. But at the same time, Ryan's growing up, he has new interests, so maybe we'll start a new one. Ryan's World channel, the existing one, maybe animated character, and we probably start casting some other on-camera talents who could carry same essence that Ryan had.
I don't know how he feels about college, but we have expressed that that's the goal that we want for him, is to attend college.
I mean, it's great that they want to send him to college and shit, but at the same time, they force him to film so much content rather than letting him explore his own passions. So like, I don't know, the line is kind of blurry there. There's also been more serious examples like Ruby Franke, who actually got arrested in December for literally abusing her children. Franke, 42, who had 2.3 million followers on her now deleted 8 Passengers video channel, was arrested in the southern Utah city of Ivins last August after her malnourished 12-year-old son with open wounds and bound with duct tape, goddamn, climbed out of a window at the home of Jody Hildebrand, owner of a self-improvement counseling business, to ask for food and water from a neighbor. Bro, like this shit is fucking crazy, man. It's insane to me how parents can fully neglect their kids and exploit them just to create content and make a couple bucks in the process. Here's a pretty disturbing clip from one of our videos.
My bedroom was taken away for 7 months and then you give it back like a couple weeks ago.
I don't think our viewers know that.
You've been sleeping on a beanbag.
I've been sleeping on a beanbag since October. And they gave my room back like 2 weeks ago.
Dude, like genuinely, what the fuck? How are you gonna take your child's bed and then force them to sleep on a beanbag? It's actually so fucked up. There's actually a really cool documentary about that whole story called Devil in the Family, so check it out if you're interested. Anyways, those are just a couple examples where parents have exploited and even abused their kids just to make a couple of bucks on social media. The worst part is that the kids are the ones that are mainly on camera, but since they're under the age of 18, the money goes straight to their parents and they aren't able to keep any of it unless their parents are sensible enough to save it for them. And that exact point actually led the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, to sign Senate Bill 764, which requires content creators who feature minor children in at least 30% of their content to set aside a proportionate percentage of the earnings into a trust fund the child can access once they reach the age of 18. Personally, I think it's a great law. Like, it forces family channels to be responsible with their financials and allows the kids to get a proportion of the money they've been making in front of the camera. However, a lot of family channels for some reason don't agree with the bill and have actually been fully moving away from California, which is where it was passed. Like, genuinely, what the fuck, guys? It's insane to me how families would literally rather uproot their entire lives and move to a completely new place rather than save a little bit of their income and give it to their kids. It's a fucked up world, man. Anyways, there's actually been quite a few big channels doing this, including Cecily Bachman with 2.2 million on TikTok, Brittany Xavier with 1.5 million on YouTube, and the Labrant family, who have over 12 million YouTube subscribers. Now, most of these families are moving to Tennessee, and the reasons that a lot of them give for moving is that the cost of living is way cheaper, and apparently there's a more conservative influencer population that lives there, because in case you didn't know, a lot of these massive family YouTube channels are on the more conservative side of things, which isn't a bad thing, but like, you know. There's also people like Brittany Xavier who had this to say when asked about why she's moving.
The original plan was to move in June 2025 once Jaden graduates high school, and we found mold in our rental house that we were in. We had to move sooner. Moving twice in 3 months didn't make sense, so we moved up our timeline to Tennessee sooner. We have friends here and it's a really good sense of community, and they have an amazing climate for farming, is what we ultimately want to do. Growing our own food and having our kids in nature as much as possible.
Listen, man, I don't know her or her family personally, so like all these reasons could be completely valid, but the only thing that makes me feel a little weird about all of this is the fact that they're leaving their oldest daughter Jaden behind in California when she literally only has 3 months left of the school year. Also, the comments are pretty mixed up in this whole thing. People saying shit like, I believe her, they're good parents, and we have the proof online for years now. But then there's also people sort of against all these big family channels, commenting shit like, nah, she wants those southern child labor laws and such a convenient excuse. Like, I really don't know who to believe here, man. This whole situation is so complicated, so here's someone who can probably explain the whole thing a little bit better than me.
Brittany Xavier has been called out big time. And honestly, a lot of the claims are justified. And she's not the only one. A lot of family vloggers are basically leaving California because of the new rules around putting your children online. The rules were made to protect children who perform in online content, and it basically states that all content creators who feature minors for at least 30% of their content, which in Brittany's case, her children are basically all of her content, they must deposit 65% of the minor's gross earnings into a trust account for when they reach adulthood, similar to what we used to have with child stars on TV. It's actually nice to see some children finally getting rights. A large part of their childhood is just blasted online broadcast for everyone to see, kind of without their consent. Jaden, the older daughter, has chimed in and says, "Why does everyone think they left me? I personally chose to stay on my own. I'm 18 years old and I'm a legal adult." Jaden is entitled to that opinion, but I also think it's kind of irresponsible. She's got 3 months of high school left and they're leaving her. Very obvious that it possibly has something to do with this law. But hey, they gotta make $1. Someone else chimed in and alleges that they knew Brittany's husband. He came into the store every day that she works at, Erewhon, and he told her that he wasn't happy about moving to Tennessee. It's just a claim by a viewer, but you know, could have some legs to it. She's not the first out of this mass exodus because of this law change that is protecting children. Labrant family have also moved out of California, as well as Daily Bump. So this is not just specific to her. They're clearly kind of picking up and leaving pretty early, much earlier than they first expected to, this law coming into place.
Like, I don't know, man. Everything is just lining up a little too perfectly for them to be moving just because of some mold or some shit. That actually reminds me, my apartment started leaking a couple months ago and created this monstrosity. And hey, I'm still here, so like, I don't get why they couldn't just rough it out for a couple more months. There's no way their entire house was infested or anything like that. But at the end of the day, that's really only one example. There's so many of these little TikTok families out there, and I'm sure some of them have completely valid reasons to be moving out of California, but others, well, others are just fucked in the head. It's really a tough situation. Like, I don't know, man. Do you guys think they're actually trying to evade taxes and shit, or do you think they genuinely want to get out of California? Personally, I'm leaning more towards the side of them wanting to exploit their kids as much as possible, but hey, that's just me. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Also, if you're new to the channel, be sure to go down and hit that sub button if you fuck with me. As always, it's been me, Kel, and I'll catch you in the next one. Later.